overview. I love the state.
All, we will go ahead and call this meeting to order. I'll ask everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Liam, would you like to start us off? All right, go for it, buddy. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job, buddy. Okay, so we got some early items here. Recognition of school board members, School Board Appreciation Month. This is the most awkward month ever, because the appreciation really always is deserved towards the staff and the kids and everybody who's achieving those things. But I guess this is our month, so
Enjoy it.
appreciate all of you. Is there anything you want to add?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think so, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And we have a couple students here tonight who have created something for you.
Oh, wow.
So if Owen and Trent are in the audience and want to come forward and present their items, you can kind of hold up what you have and talk about it.
Okay, so me and Nancy thought it would be cool if we made you guys little mugs. And we decided to do a little Bruin Country graphic. Just designed this on Canva. And then we have a mug press over in the high school. And I actually learned how to use this my freshman year with Mrs. Gregory when we did digital graphic design. So I thought it would be cool to kind of recreate that type of project. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
So
Owen.
wait, there's.
Appreciate that.
for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Yeah,
you guys for
thank you.
that. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Look at that, even, I mean, these trees.
And so Owen
So
is our
cool.
district office intern this term.
Oh,
Oh,
He's a
really?
senior.
you get to work in the district office?
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
It's even got our names.
Got extras? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Personalized. Oh,
Mhm.
excellent.
Yeah. And then
Thank
Bruin
you.
Country Blues.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is cool. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Huge fan of the mugs. Thank you.
All right, welcome Trent, who created something and he can tell us about it. Come up closer to the mic.
That's why she's got so tall.
Oh, wow, Trent.
Hi, Trent.
You made those? What?
What are they?
Do you want to give it to them or would you like? Me too. Okay.
You made this?
Wow.
Trent
Made
made
the
them?
coaster part and the wood part is Cassidy Doak and Ashley Hollenbeck.
Did you make that too?
Coaster parts.
Wow, Trent. Thank you.
That is great. Thank you, Trent.
This is amazing.
I loved it.
That's
How
amazing.
did you do it?
These are so cool.
Did you use the press? Yeah? You did a great job.
This is
You did a
wonderful.
great
Wow.
job.
We learned two
Yes.
different types of papers and we learned which one works
The
better.
right
than
one,
the other.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we know what the 1 and the 2 mean on the packages when you order.
Thank you.
Feel so spoiled. Thank you, Trent.
Thank you.
I know, empty-handed and
And
more.
this is something we do.
Yeah. And a bag of broccoli. This is awesome. This is getting any better. Thank you.
Oh, the blankets. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Something for the
Cool.
next game,
Thank you.
right?
perfect.
Good for an airplane.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll trade you.
Oh,
Oh, you got, I
Oh,
grabbed the
here,
wrong
I'll
bag.
trade you.
I'll trade. There you go.
Oh, thank you.
perfect.
Well, thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
That's,
Thank you very much.
we'll
That was
appreciate it.
nice.
Thank you.
Although if I could trade spaces with Trish, I would, trips to Hawaii and all of that fun stuff, I'd be all in.
So the theme the students came up with was sort of a cozy coffee break, as you can see from what you got. And it was really amazing to watch them work on it and go through so many iterations of design thinking. They started on these back in December. This was like a early prototype of the coaster. And you can see how it went from this to the really cool coaster
Mhm.
sets that you have. So great job to
They did a great
Owen and
job.
Trent and Cassidy and Ashley. They did a really nice job.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very
It's very
much.
thoughtful.
So one thing that this just kind of spurred in my head, is, so obviously, like Owen, you guys making these, right? There's an avenue, right, to essentially generate some revenue. There's so many local businesses that would like to be able to have cups, make cups,
Sell a ton.
order onto you guys and you guys build, make, same with the coasters, things like that would be a really cool way to generate revenue for your programs. And,
especially like if we were to do, so in Mr. Whitley's class,
Mhm.
like the business and like, the Bruin store, I think that would be really cool.
Heck, yeah.
Distribute it like a small company downtown.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of
I
the
mean-
tourists would love.
Yeah, I know, for sure. Or like other family members who come to visit the town. and
Correct.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
Give them as gifts, correct.
I mean, we sell those, the Bruin dog snacks, that the culinary group makes, and they fly. Like, people love those. So, yeah, something to kick around. Okay. All right. Well, that was awesome. Thank you all. Next up is our student rep report, and I don't see Lucas. Is he playing golf? It's nice out.
Yeah, he
Lucas?
told me the other day he wasn't able to make it today. It sounds
Okay.
like we don't have a student rep, right?
So Owen, I have a list of things to read. Would you like to
Oh.
read them? Since you were here,
We're gonna make
as
Owen
a
do
high
it.
school rep, it'd be better than Mrs. Sherinian reading it.
It's great practice, Owen. You can actually just sit right over
You
here.
can- You can have a seat over here. There we go.
Oh, or you can sit there. It's up to you.
That microphone.
Yeah, it's that one. It's
Yeah.
too close to the
To
other
the
mic.
mic, yep. Yep.
And Janice is joining us right now.
Everyone tell Lucas that Owen did a much better job.
We will,
Oh.
we will, for sure.
Okay, for the student rep report, we'll go to the music. The music department had many good holiday performances. The caroling that went through the school district was, as always, amazing and a great tradition. The next up is the boys basketball. The boys got their first win and have an upcoming game on the 28th. Girls basketball. Girls are on the 7th and seven currently. Wait, the girls are 7 and 7 currently and are pretty happy with how it's been going for the preseason. They are at home next Wednesday. Then wrestling's blank and same with leadership. Freshmen and sophomores have set the dance for February 8th from 7 to 9, and it's called the Glow Crazy. They are also working on fundraising for prom by working on a couple Snack Shacks upcoming basketball games. And then junior fundraising for prom by selling chocolates. Seniors making a shopping list for things we want to graduate, for things that we want at graduation, as well as contacting potential guest speakers that we would want to be there. And then the school as a whole, everyone had fun at the holiday assembly before break. There was also a lot of thanks for the blankets that everyone received.
Thank you.
All right. good
Is
work.
there anything you would like to add as a student rep that has been going on?
So far it's been pretty chill and just preparing for finals.
Okay,
That's basically all that's been going on for me in my classes. Yeah.
nice. All right. All right, I see Janice has joined us. Welcome, Janice. Okay, next up is building presentations, Azalea Middle School, Principal Vicky Nye, and student support. Oh, and Mr. Bennett.
We're a team. We're a team. So we do things together. I thought greatly about what I was gonna say and bringing you things about how great our building is doing. Our behaviors are down, our referrals are down, our attendance is up, the building feels great. But instead, I decided you would rather hear from our kids. And so as we talked about in DLT, and improving programs and making school engaging and fun, we started 2 new electives this year based on students' wants because they forecasted for it. And so today I have Mr. Wagman, who does video production, and he has brought some students and they have some work, examples of their work. And then Jen Leggett is frantically driving from Port Orford and will be here
Gonna talk to her about.
in the next 10 minutes. And she
Fabrics
has
or-
her students to talk
Oh.
about fabric arts and has brought some stuff. So, Mr. Wagman, video production.
All right.
Right, so, yeah, my name is Adam Wegman, and I have brought some wonderful students with me. Going up, gentlemen.
Now, were these the hosts of the,
They're part of it, yeah, and so we have a rotating, so we will get it started. So we have a presentation for you, and as we should as a video production class, we also have a video that we created, so. So again, my name is Adam Wagman. With me today I have Frank Rico and well, we'll go Liam Christensen and Brayson Wessel. So they are going to take over part of this presentation. Go ahead, Frank.
So what is video production? Our elective is a class where students can freely express their ideas and skills in the video making world. Though the class is run by Mr. Wagman, these young professionals have creative freedom in how they represent our school.
What do you do in video production? In this class, there are many components of film and video that students practice. Some of these include filming, editing, creating videos, and public speaking.
What jobs are there? We have many jobs that students do, including broadcasters and project managers. Our news broadcast has multiple segments that students can choose from, including sports, weather, and weird facts of the week.
Our purpose, video productions is a wonderful opportunity for classmates to creatively and freely express their ideas. This class also creates employment opportunities. Build student skills in public speaking, graphic design, filming, and content creating. In our class, we don't just learn these valuable job skills, we learn partnership and working as a team.
What have we learned? There are numerous film studies. We've learned camera angles, movie scenes, importance of films, and etc. Aside from films, we've learned how to shoot, edit, format, and produce news broadcasts and short videos.
Here's a short video about our class made by me.
I think it's important because it lets people know what's going on. It tells people the weather. It tells people, it can tell people, like, say, the cafeteria. Like, it can tell people, don't make a mess, be kind, respect the janitor's jobs, make it easier for them.
Because like kids, it gives kids who want to pursue a career in like journalism and videography, like a chance to like do it early and try it out and see if they like it. Because it gives people information.
It's my favorite class because I feel like I have a really good connection with quite a few of the students, and I do well in the class, and I like the teacher. He's pretty cool.
Because
No money was spent.
you're learning about technology and videos and stuff, and making videos.
Because I have a fun time making the videos and fun time doing all the work in the class I can.
So, kind of in conclusion, it's just been a fun class for the kids. It's been a valuable thing. Just to kind of highlight some part of it, that beginning of that video Liam did, I don't know if you guys realize what he did there. It's something he did completely. He showed how he made the intro slide. He did that. And that's not something that I can tell the kids to do. They just are constantly coming up with ideas and stuff like that. I'm not a video producer. I've not ever worked. I mean, I did a class 2 terms in college where I faked it for a while, but these students have just been doing an awesome job. So it's just awesome to see them have the opportunity to work independently, work as a team. They do a great job just working on their own. And like Lindsay Witt said, they build those connections because they're getting to work independently and they're getting to work on things. And it's always about them bringing stories to us and ideas to us. And so it's been a powerful thing. It's been awesome to see these young men be so successful. And they're representative of the other 18 kids that are taking the class.
Yes.
Wow.
That's awesome. Okay. Oh, Miss Leggett.
She's here. She's here. She just Hi, made I it. made it.
Yes, you did. Hey, while you get ready, I'm gonna ask these guys just one more question. Grayson. Grayson, come on. What's your favorite thing to report on?
This week,
In general, like what's up, I think you said news, sports,
Yeah.
weather, there's all kinds of, what's your favorite thing to report on?
say I started off doing like small parts like basketball, volleyball. I really like doing volleyball because I got to video, I got to record and go places and like, really explore editing that stuff. So I'd say sports and editing that kind of stuff would be my favorite topic.
Nice.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's great.
All right. Frank,
Yeah, you other 2 gentlemen aren't getting out of this, I think.
how about you?
I'd have to agree with Brayson. Working on the sports segments shows our school spirit and our volleyball, basketball, football, all those teams.
Yeah.
It's really great to edit and put together and see all the highlights that our teams play.
Nice.
And
Nice.
for Frank, all that, he wrote that whole slideshow. That
Yeah.
was his writing and stuff.
I saw, produced by. Yeah. That's awesome. Very talented. Liam?
I really enjoyed making that video because I got to go behind the scenes and record some stuff and record them setting up things and then editing it was fun.
So quick question, since I kind of know like you're a super talented musician, are you going to be dubbing any of your music into your segments?
Yes, he will.
Yes, he will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Open that up.
Yeah.
Original music by
Some
Liam.
opening, some, if you don't know, he's super talented with multiple different instruments. So,
Azalea needs one anthem.
Yeah.
Go.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Okay, Miss Leggett.
You're not a tech-based class, so this is all we have. for you, But, oh, no.
Well, that's not true. You brought a whole bunch of
Yes.
stuff with you.
Well, I mean, as far as technology, this was it. So we are also a new elective at Azalea this year. And I am teaching a fiber arts class with a focus on crochet and quilting.
Oh.
And so this is Sophia, this is Sarah, and this is Hazel. And they were welcome and had availability to represent the 17 kids in our class and come and just kind of show you what we've been doing. So they're worrying about poking themselves because we're in the final stage and they've got a bunch of pins.
I see that.
But, so we've, like I said, we focus on crocheting. We started off the year, just learning basic single stitches, making pot holders. And so the girls brought their pot holders. Maybe. It's okay. So
Mine
the
is
pot
too.
holders were a really good learning experience because we figured out why it's important to count and measure, which is a big deal in fiber arts and sewing and things like that. And so they have all been useful pot holders. They just turned out in different shapes and sizes. But that was totally okay. And then we started learning how to use the sewing machines, how to sew fabric together, how to measure and cut it. And then their final sewing project is this quilt that they are making throughout the semester. In the meantime, we also learned to crochet a little more. We made these baskets so that they have something to hold stuff into. The kids, we've had some people donate some different yarn. So I've got like 6 tubs of yarn that a couple people from my quilt guild, as they were cleaning things out, donated a bunch of yarn. So kids got to pick different colors, different types of yarn, things like that that they wanted to make. And so in the midst of quilting, when somebody's using a machine, somebody else might be crocheting, somebody else is cutting, and it's just very controlled chaos, I guess I would kind of best describe it as.
It looks great.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, and then we've been able to incorporate our community. So some of you know my mom, Sherry. She helped teach me to do these things. So now she's coming in and also helping teach the kids. They decided it was confusing to have 2 Miss Leggett's. So she's now grandma.
Okay.
Which she's happy because her kids didn't make her a grandma. So she now gets to be a grandma. And we've been having some fun. These 3 especially have really kind of stepped up to, we're seeing like a lot of leadership from the kids. So as the kids learn something, there's only one of me. And so I teach a few and then they go on and teach, and you know, we walk in and half the kids are teaching each other stuff while I'm working with somebody. And so it's been a really neat thing. And then we've also gotten some community volunteers to come in for crochet days to work with the kids, and just because I more quilt. And so bringing in some experts from the community that crochet to kind of help. We had some lefties and I was like, I don't know what to do with you.
Get in
So-
here.
So I found some left-handed crocheters in the community that came in and did some side groups with just my left-hand crocheters and to help them. And so we've been having fun just meeting community members that share our love for it. So
Great.
yeah, so they brought
All
their
right.
projects to show.
You did a great job.
Yes, those are awesome.
Yes. I love sewing.
So what did you maybe learned more about quilting than others? Why?
They cut mine too short.
Well, how's that? It looks
It's
wonderful.
just unique.
Yeah, she had to
What
put a
did we
border
do?
on it, that's why.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
smart.
Okay.
I sew, I know.
Yes.
Smart.
So hers is slightly different because in the measuring phase, we were making 8-inch blocks and we realized Sarah made 7-inch blocks. And then Sarah turns out to be one of our tallest students, so her quilt was like down to here and wasn't gonna be much of a lap quilt.
Yes.
So we problem solved and taught her some other extra techniques.
Well, I think that's a design feature, not a sort of.
Exactly, that's what
flaw.
I said. I'm like, I only make quilts with borders, so I love it, but yeah, so she got to learn a little bit farther and stress out a little more and work a little harder.
I love it.
Great job.
You all did a great job.
Yes.
So do you have any questions for them?
Besides measuring, maybe, is there
Hazel's
one
worried
thing
I'm
that
gonna
was,
ask her
that you
question.
surprised you about learning to quilt in general? Yeah,
Did it-
way harder to sew? Is that?
Well, it was like the whole the way we set up the quilts. I was really expecting we were gonna like layer them how they go and then just sew all the way around and not like flip it or anything. But we flipped it, like we folded it like inside out, then we sewed all the way around and left a gap, and then we pulled them inside out, and now we're tying.
Oh,
I'm
So
finished.
they're not all like crazy when they come out of the washing machine.
tips and certain ways to make it look nice and last longer.
Nice.
Wow. Well, that's impressive. I could never hope to do anything like that. So that's wonderful.
love it.
Congratulations. Yeah.
And someday you should ask Ms. Leggett if she remembers about my 40-year-old quilt that's still not done, so we could have that conversation sometime.
Send it to them, they can finish it. for
They
you.
can finish it.
Yeah.
I have an entire room of unfinished quilts, so we're thrilled that we started quilts. We've started 17 of them. Well, 16 are for sure gonna be finished by the end of the semester. We have one that's going a little slower, but we're gonna finish it second semester if we don't get it done.
good.
So, yeah.
All right.
Started 16, finished 16. We're on a roll. Yeah. They've got a way better track record than I do.
Perfect, yeah.
Right? I know. My first quilt took me 20 years to finish. We've done it in one semester.
Did it in a few weeks.
Well, congratulations. Good job,
Thank
lady.
you.
Okay, well, thank you for that presentation from the Azalea programs. That was awesome. Oh, come on up.
Come on.
I was gonna say, this class has really helped me this season. This year I was excited to come new school, but this year has been I've been really pushing through it, and this class has helped me get through it. This teacher really understands me. That's why I love this class. I gotta say, this is my favorite class out of all.
Aw,
That's awesome.
Thank you for sharing that.
That's awesome, Grace.
Very
So,
nice.
yeah. Come on up, Mr. Bennett.
I don't need to go up, I'm loud. I was just gonna let you know, not only have the students been working on this in class, but it's overflowed to their own personal time. Lots of times at lunch, they're sitting there crocheting during their lunch, talking with each other about what they're making, who's, sharing ideas, everything else. It's been amazing to watch what they're doing.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, great job, everyone. That was awesome. All right. So now we'll get on to our next, the South Coast ESD Superintendent, Paul Peterson.
Tough act to follow, Paul. Yeah. Come on up.
Those kids are awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, good luck.
Bye.
That was awesome. Thanks for letting me see that. Well, thank you very much, Superintendent Sharon Yon and members of the school board. I am Paul Peterson, the superintendent at South Coast ESD. And on behalf of the board of the South Coast ESD, I want to thank you for inviting me to join you this evening. With me is board member Bruce Levy. And we're here to provide a brief description of the local service plan process and answer your questions related to the local service plan, which is on your agenda tonight. As an overview, every year the local service plan, or LSP, gets reviewed and approved by the regional superintendents, then the ESD board, and then the boards of each of the 10 school districts within South Coast ESD's territory, which ranges from here to Reedsport in the north. The local service plan on your agenda tonight is unchanged from the LSP you approved last year. This plan was reviewed by the area's 10 school district superintendents this fall, and they voted to approve the plan on November 21st. The South Coast ESD Board of Directors also voted unanimously to approve this plan at their December 10th meeting. This LSP is designed to provide the maximum flexibility to each district in how they want to use their ESD resolution dollars, and that each district chooses from a menu of services what they need from the ESD, and we call those Tier 2 services. Altogether, the Tier 2 services comprise about 95% of the ESD's resolution dollars, with just about 5% in Tier 1, or what we sometimes call core services, that benefit all the districts. Tier 1 services include homeschool registration, audiology testing, birth to 3 evaluations, and the Safe Schools program. South Coast ESD is proud to partner with your district to help deliver the highest quality programs and services for students in a cost-effective manner, and I'm happy to address or answer any questions you might have about the local service plan or what we do at the ESD.
All right.
Oh, God.
You got lots of questions? Is that what
No,
this
no,
is, Trish?
he-
All right.
I don't
Sounds
have
like.
to have a question. I said he said a lot real fast.
I have a script that I read every year. It's the same thing I read every year. Sorry, it's not real flashy. I can bring a PowerPoint, but.
How are things at the ESD? In previous years, I was a little more plugged in with the ESD, I think, as prior board chair, but I haven't really asked in the last year or two, I guess. But how are things going from your perspective, the state level? And
I love it there. I think we're in an interesting moment. Here in Oregon, I am seeing something that's really encouraging right now that I've never seen. And I've been in district admin for 20 some years in Oregon. And the ESD does a lot of work with special education. and those services. And for the first time in all these years, I'm seeing all of the major education lobby groups, OSBA, COSA, OEA, all the nonprofits, really focused on special education in a very strong way. In fact, it's like top of the priority list. It's, raising the 11% cap, funding for some of the programs that we operate, the early intervention, early childhood special education, regional inclusive services for the low incidence special education. So it's encouraging to see really people going, yeah, we need to fund those and we need to put more money into those programs, because if we don't put more money in those programs, those kids still need the service, and it's just going to go to the school districts. And then the school districts are going to be in a position where they say, well, gosh, Governor Kotek, we'd love to do this early literacy work, but so much of our money now has to go over here to meet these legal requirements and these IEP requirements for the children. So that's a real dilemma, but it's important, and it's very encouraging right now to see so much of the education lobby and really agreement among the 197 superintendents of our state that yeah, we need to allocate more money over to the special.
Does that translate then to funding to the ESD then from the state?
Yeah, it translates into contracts. So we have contracts for these major programs, and so there are actually some other ESDs that are saying we can't do it anymore unless you increase, because we've had increasing costs. When you look at like early intervention, early childhood special education, we're actually getting less than we did 10 years ago, but of course costs have gone up. And so it's, I think there's a nice realization of that. So I'm encouraged. Nothing about the work has gotten easier. There's more litigation, there's more rules, but it's nice to see people seeing that all kids deserve access to a quality education. So there's my 2 cents for today.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other?
Yeah, I mean, as long as, I think I ask the superintendent every year, but how is the relationship all right? And we're
Yeah.
happy with the unchanged plan and all that?
Yes, we do actually, for the first time this year was our first year in a long time, we've actually bought we have autism evaluation services that we purchase, and our Power School guru, Blythe, also is paid for by the ESD, which is very helpful to us. And so, yeah.
I realize that.
Yeah, it's a little different relationship, but it works. It works for everybody. And I think we're probably going to be revisiting how the local service plan works, maybe not for next year, but like 26, 27, we might be taking a look at, it's been a while since all the superintendents, looked at it and said, okay, do we want to make any changes? Since I've been there, we've just rolled it forward every year.
So you mean it in the South Coast ESD, that group? Or
Yeah.
larger?
Yeah, the 10 school districts. We just keep kind of rolling it forward. In fact, the document what I sent you, this looks like this. I mean, I didn't type it. It was there before I got there. Just keep rolling it forward, but it might be time for us to look at how has the world and changed, and what are the services that the districts need. We might look at it next year. So we're actually going to talk about that tomorrow at our superintendent's meeting a little bit. So could be
So potential to add or subtract services that are offered, that kind of thing.
yeah. Let's just make sure it still works for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have some distances. That's our biggest
Yep.
challenge.
Right.
To share things. is
That's always been the
distance.
challenge. Yeah, it's just the.
So, yeah, for people who may not know, we have traditionally opted out of a lot of the ESD services due to the travel that's involved coming from the Coos Bay, North Bend area. So anything we can do to mitigate that gap would be.
And we have, we do maintain our office in Gold Beach. Right now, Central Curry School District uses it. We have some people there too, but I would like to see more services and more support for the Curry school districts.
Yeah.
Would be
If
nice,
shared
that'd be-
services base there. That might be
That'd be
something.
nice.
Yep, we're looking at it.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for making the trip down.
Oh, my pleasure.
Speaking of travel, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're gonna drive back north now, so, thank you.
Okay. Well, be safe. You got a beautiful evening to make.
Oh, the drive down was stunning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
You can.
So, quickly, before public comments, we realized during the last session that we have Trio here tonight. They did not make the agenda, but they had arranged to be here tonight back before winter break and it missed the agenda. So if possible, if they could have the public comment time to present.
Certainly.
That would be wonderful. Come on up, Trio.
All right. It's a quartet, not a trio.
This is my trio. Do you have this slideshow for us?
Did you send it to me or?
I sent it to you.
I'll pull it up one moment.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'll start. I'm Crystal and I am the trio specialist for our schools, BHHS and Azalea, as well as the Gold Beach schools and Port Orford as well. So we're going to talk specifically about our Brookings schools tonight. And I want to introduce you really quick. We have 3 trio student ambassadors, as you can see from Lizzie's shirt here. These are our leaders in the trio program. They attend conferences and all kinds of trainings centered around how are you a good leader? What makes a good leader? So they are actually going to do most of the presentation tonight, but I will introduce you to them. This is Zoe Hansen, Senior, Sierra Stout, Junior, and Elizabeth Love, Senior. And yes, awesome. Do I get the clicker?
You know what? I think I opened the wrong window. I wanted to open it in the PowerPoint, so one moment. Oops. Okay, now you should be able to push down.
There we go. Okay.
All right.
So you can see the pictures. So I will talk about the history of TRIO. So in 1964, President Johnson had that War on Poverty program, right? And Head Start, Job Corps, and Upward Bound came out of that. And Upward Bound was the first TRIO program. We do not have Upward Bound in our county, but it was the first of the TRIO. It's called TRIO because there were 3 programs. And then the next year, he started Talent Search, which is the branch of TRIO that we have here, Educational Talent Search. 1965, the Office of Education funded 42 talent search projects, serving about 50,000 students around the nation. Congress, in 1968, Congress started Student Support Services, usually called SSS. That's the college TRIO. So we are pre-college TRIO for Talent Search. There's college branch, and then Upward Bound is also for high school students. And then in 1980, Congress standardized the eligibility for TRIO students to focus on potential first-generation college students and students from low-income households. And last year, TRIO celebrated 60 years in existence. So I'll be the clicker if you guys want. Okay. All right. I don't know who had that next. Stand right.
So during this for TRIO, we do a lot of talent searches. This includes looking at what we might want to do in the future if we have no idea what we are going to go into, trying to find sources and information for what we can go into. This includes trade schools, colleges, and jobs in the workforce afterwards. And then TRIO also supports graduating students from high school and then continues to support them throughout their college career as well.
Awesome. There's a little lag in the button.
You can do the button.
No, it's okay. No. For our high school's outcomes, we have a 90% academic persistence rate. We have a 82 graduation rate, a 64% graduation with rigorous curriculums. This includes students that have graduated on time with a regular diploma and have taken at least 1 successful year of a world language, and then a 59% college enrollment rate. And so these are kids that go into college with financial aid and other qualities from TRIO specifically.
And then our impact with TRIO pre-college programs such as Upward Bound and Talent Search, we are very crucial to supporting students that are underrepresented with their backgrounds and with their pursuit for higher education. These programs offer academic participation, mentoring, and resources. These help overcome barriers to college success, such as financial restraints or lack of guidance. They also promote college readiness, encourage persistence, and increase the likelihood of students enrolling and graduating in post-secondary institutions.
Okay, so ways to ways to support TRIO is like encourage the Congress to continue funding this program because it's a really great program. Lots of things come out of it, and it's helped me a lot.
There was a link on that previous slide, but I don't know if we can get to it with this.
I can see it on my screen, but it
It
doesn't
doesn't come up.
Doesn't look like it wants to pull it up, sorry.
So the senior laptop program, so basically a laptop is a gateway to crucial components of modern education: work submission, online classes, research, communications with professors, and collaborations with peers, all of which are crucial components of modern education. Our goal with TRIO is to provide a laptop to each graduating TRIO senior to take college to support college success. If you'd like to support this program, please reach out to Deanne. She's actually here tonight. And yeah, so. And then there's,
Yeah, a QR code.
yeah, and a QR code for what?
Oh, it's the application.
Oh, to apply for it. So yeah, is that it?
Have any questions for us?
Yeah, how does TRIO, how does it look at the high school? What do you do for TRIO when a typical week or day at school?
TRIO in general, most of us go and fill out forms to help with colleges. Like me as a senior, we have a checklist to do that offers scholarship opportunities, have us look into other colleges that are a part of like programs like the WUI program, which allows us to go to out-of-state colleges with a low tuition. And then it also includes touring different colleges. We recently went on one to Cal Poly.
Humboldt.
And that was really fun. And it just is an opportunity for these students to get more of an outreach and to understand how this college culture will affect them and which college culture they want to participate in.
That's great. So how many are involved in TRIO right now?
That's
Yes.
Okay, so I have lots of different schools and lots of numbers floating around in my head, but I think I'm right around 40 at Azalea. Do you know, Deanne, because you just pulled the percentage for numbers. So many numbers. 80-ish?
Okay.
I think I have like 23 or 24 seniors here. I think I have about 80 at the high school. I think it's more. I think it might be, yeah.
Wow.
We're the biggest town we're the biggest town, the biggest school out of all my schools. Some of my other schools are running about 20 to 25. And I'm at like 160 total-ish.
Nice.
Yeah, if that maths.
How much fun is that for you to work with these kids?
It's a lot of fun. I get to like, especially working with like the younger kids and then like watching them grow and figure out what they want to do. I'm only in my second year, so I really can't wait for the littles to watch that process. But yeah, watching them get into colleges. I had a student run into my office a few weeks ago because she got the package in the mail, that she was accepted to a college. And the field trips are a lot of fun.
Yes, that's awesome. That's great. So where are you guys looking to go?
Me specifically, I plan on taking 2 years of the community college here just to save money and then transferring to a university or a bigger college after that to go into environmental sciences. And then Zoe's.
Good plan, I did that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It works.
Yeah, doing my best. Sorry, I just got my teeth done, so I'm.
Yeah, I'll know.
Yeah, but I'm moving to Idaho in the fall. I'm going to cosmetology school there.
Good for
And then after that, hopefully psychology.
Nice.
And then I'm a junior, so I haven't really thought about it that much. So I'm
Your mom says you're right.
okay.
Can we have your mom come up?
Okay, so I've kind of thought about it. Hopefully, an out-of-state college is what I'm going for. Hopefully, so yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you for that presentation. I honestly, I did not know about the TRIO program.
Neither did I.
So I think it's really cool that this is going on as an additional benefit. I mean, to college prep and leadership and things of that nature. So good job.
So Deanne, can I ask a question? So I know that you're looking at the grants coming up for renewal, right? So.
I'll be reaching out to superintendents probably in the next couple of months.
And just let all of us kind of know what we can do to help support, so.
Yeah, and it really, all three of those things, the thing about encouraging Congress, TRIO is a bipartisan program, and it has historically enjoyed bipartisan support. And so that's one of those where whatever your political ideology, because this is both education as well, you know, any certification program basically that accepts financial aid for students, because that's the purpose of the program, is to diversify. And we're from a rural, remote location. That's a diversification in higher education. So, and we know, honestly, I mean, these young people are student ambassadors who are also taking HD 199 and receiving college credit for student leadership at no cost to the district or to the school. We also know that our rural males need a lot of attention and support through that program. So we're talking about demographics and who we need to reach out to and get involved. So I'd say reach out to Congress. March, we're forward funded. So March will be really important to us to see if we continue favorable funding for our programs. Then in about a year, we'll be applying for the next cycle of 5 years for educational talent surge. And beyond that, the laptop program, so we're looking for grant funding. So if you are part of any nonprofit organizations, you'll probably hear I'll be reaching out and coming, taking the roadshow out, asking, you know, would you donate funding for 2 laptops that will stay in either Curry County, or if you specify Perkins Harbor High School, you know, the more laptops we can get for students, the less likely that they have to do a lottery. You know, the lottery is great. We've had some grant. How many did we have for Perkins last year? 2. But there's always somebody disappointed when you do a lottery. So our goal is to try and find enough funding for that. So I'm in the process of applying for a lot of grants for that. And then of course the applied. We always want Crystal is probably the top specialist in terms of her numbers right now. She has 100% of her goal met at Perkins and Pacific. No, Gold Beach. You're like at 97% of one. So for all practical purposes, it's pretty much 100%. Except for Azalea, we're working on a little more, few more applications for Azalea because those kids roll forward. But it is a great opportunity, and admissions waiving. The trips that Crystal takes are geared towards what the kids want to see and what their career interests are too. And the simulations, we've got some stuff backward, it's gonna be pretty exciting. The simulations for career exploration.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
That's great. And so, is that a SWAC, correct?
Correct. They connect with usually an institution of higher education.
Yeah.
Those types of-
So I would invite you, if you're gonna take your roadshow presentation, to do a presentation for the Board of Commissioners. That would be good in terms of getting this out kind of countywide to folks. And also some others who can help lobby Congress for those funds. So yeah, I would invite you to do that. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So I am gathering that we do not have any public speaker slips. Okay, before we move into the consent agenda, one thing that I notice that we don't have is the election of our board officers.
Do you mean information about the upcoming election, or what do you mean in our
No,
consent agenda?
for chair, vice chairs, first.
July.
That's July.
Okay.
They were gonna say.
I was,
maybe.
I was thinking ahead,
It's okay.
Try to get out of it? or
making sure we were prepared.
Still chair until the end of
Us
July.
again.
We're trying to get out of it.
Good one, Jay.
Thank you, Janice. No, I guess I was on the other, we just did this for our other one because it's first of the year, so. All right. Disregard, that. Moving on to the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda. How about that, Mr. Chair?
Okay,
And I'll second it.
okay. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll go start with Janice,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Trish,
Aye.
and I as well. All right, district reports and information. Comments from the superintendent.
So watching the kids is the best part of this job, right? Like, there is nothing better, even if it's a former kid of mine who's in the high school office and is in trouble for being not a nice person to substitute. All those interactions are the best part.
That kid is still your kid.
I know she is.
Not a former kid, still your child.
My former, like, my little
I know what
people.
you meant.
My
I know
little
what you
people.
meant.
They're just really tall and they tend to develop attitudes as they get taller.
As they get taller.
You're here.
I'm living through that.
Yep. Oh, you got a while to go.
You just wait.
You wait.
Being with the kids is the best part. There's some parts of this job that are not that fun. Dee Dee and I are starting to look at 25, 26 budget. We're gonna have some hard work to do to keep us just cutting as far away from the kids as possible so that we can protect the things that the kids need, right? Something to think about. We're not in an unusual situation for a school district in Oregon today. Lots of places are where we are. We're probably more fortunate than most. We've lost 17% of our enrollment since 18-19. 17%. And so what we're gonna look at for a potential budget reduction for next year is less than 10% of the general fund. It's still.
In how many years is that 17% reduction in the enrollment?
So that's
7 years.
6 years.
7? Okay.
Yeah,
Since-
six years,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Since the 18-19 school season.
yeah.
Okay.
So right before
Wow.
COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are looking at, the minimum hopeful number that we're looking at reducing by is $1.2 million. And so admin team's gonna start some number crunching and some proposals on what we can do to make that happen. And so, it's never fun. We need to right size no matter what, because we're smaller, right? Like but I don't know that any of us can look around and say this person isn't working hard enough, right? That's not what we're saying. Everybody works hard. And everybody has a piece with the kids, and kids have relationships with different people, and it's just not very much fun.
No.
And then, we have conversations, and Dee Dee would look at me and she goes, well, if we'd started this 8-10 years ago, Helena, we wouldn't be here right now. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's part of this is my fault, right? Because I was a principal who sat around a table and said, no, we can't do that. We need to leave that. You can't touch that. I've been there, said that. So, there's that. So that's a big piece of what we're working on right now. It's not that much fun, but.
Nothing like Dee Dee to just remind you once in a while.
That it's your fault.
But I think you know, no, I mean, the responsibilities bear on all of us, but this is, I see this as more, it's a multi-pronged, requires a multi-pronged solution. Obviously, we can look at how we can reduce, but with the same level of emphasis, we have to look on how we can get our numbers back. Right. And so to know that, I think what we really need is to identify, we're down 17%, but of that 17%, how many are just choosing not to come here? And how much of that is birth rate? Because we can't address the birth rate right now, but if we can get the number of how many are choosing a different avenue, then that's our target to try to increase. So we can put those efforts towards increasing our enrollment while we're going to have to be decreasing some costs. But that way it's not all on one leg, you know? And if we don't put those types of efforts in, we're going to continually just be reactive and reducing.
And I would say my next comment was going to be there really is a third leg to that stool, and that's advocacy, right? The legislature is about to go into session. Both OSBA and COSA are working hard at advocating for increased school funding. So I have no doubt there's going to be more funds. We just won't know how much in time to build the budget that you guys can approve by the June meeting. And I think that it's going to be a little difficult for the legislature because they are going to see this really big number that they're being asked to increase it by. And then you're going to have your massive numbers of school districts around the state saying, we are cutting 58 teachers, and like much bigger districts than us, but like the scale of how many employees are going to be potentially let go, all that's, and it's just, when you've had a 2 to 3% increase in funds and you have inflation of 9% for a minute.
30.
And so it just doesn't add up, right? And so, and Paul was talking about special education funding. We have 15% of our students are in special education, right, Lynn?
Yes.
Yep. 15, 16, which is state average at this point. We're not lower or higher. But we only get paid for 11. And legally, we have to provide the support for the students that we have. It's not really a choice. And so hopefully there will be some piece of the legislature's work that will help with that. So, yeah. That's my fun words for tonight.
Well, I would say that when we go down this road, that we caution on the we can always do a supplemental. If we have an idea or believe that we could be getting more money than we think, but we don't have that solidified, let's not plan to not receive any. Because we can all, you know what I mean? We can go into that supplemental after the first quarter and make adjustments if necessary, but at least we won't have to be trying to uncrack the egg by making big moves and then all of a sudden you get money. And then we can't undo that after people leave our district, right? So, right. So I think if we're gonna be looking at, you know, crunching the numbers, let's be strategic on how we do that and have a very well understood roadmap, like ramp on that we can kind of grasp while we put in the work. Because the thing is if it requires us, you know, advocating to allocate dollars into an area which will pull some of these other kids back into our district, then those are strategic moves we also have to really take a look at, you know? So.
And there's a little bit, I think, I can share this, I think, because I've signed out a couple of older kids lately. We're trying really hard to make kids accountable. And so if you have failed a class in the high school, you are going to go back and take that class again in a real classroom. And like
Not in
Vanessa's teaching an
options.
English language
Sure.
arts class with 10 kids, and she's doing a great job, and they're engaged and they're working. And so those things take money and commitment, but it's also, we have some kids who are not ready to be held accountable like that.
yeah,
But I still think that that's our job. Like, we
Oh.
need to do that.
In the long run,
Uh-huh.
that gets us further towards our goal in the long run. The struggle always happens before the breakthrough. But keeping these kids engaged in the school will have much more advantage than putting them out in a program where they don't, where they
It's a
lose their
short-term,
connection.
long-term thing, though, right? I mean, you could say, okay, student A,
Mhm.
you failed English, now you gotta go take it again.
Mhm.
That kid might just walk out the door, right? And that's kind of what
Yeah.
you're saying. So there's the short-term loss, but you're right in the long-term benefit, but you know, how do you keep those kids? and
But
hold them
all the
accountable?
freshmen that are seeing the older kids sitting in their classes, they're kind of going, oh yeah, I don't want to do that. I better pass.
Correct.
That's good.
That's where, that's what I'm saying. That fruit will, that tree will bear the fruit later. But an alt ed program that's designed to basically be a catch-all for behavior has not been successful in our district ever. You know, we've had people work really hard at those things, but when we distance our kids from the community in which the school is, then the integration back has always been the struggle. And I don't know that we ever fully ever get there with half of them. So,
Someday when you're not going to Go Beach, you're gonna come and you and I are gonna go for a walk. I want to show you something.
all right,
Okay.
okay.
Is we built a multi-program in Zillow.
Oh, I've built, I've.
No, but it is.
Built
it's
some
still connected.
Yes.
Teachers are going through and teaching, it's not online. And then kids have the ability to do the right things and earn their way out back into classes to take the skills they learned back into classes and practice them. So that I think she wants to bring.
Yeah, no, and I think so there's ways to do it and there's ways not to do it, right? We had a system that was very similar in the past where we had we had this entire board up there and it showed how they get back to the school. And it showed everything that they needed to work on in terms of their thinking for a change. A lot of it was internalizing the behavior that they needed to replace before they could go back, not necessarily the educational portions. And so there were behavioral goals. And once they reached the goals, then they were going back until one child reached all the goals. And the administration said, they're not ready. And so then all the other kids just erased the board, right? So we have to be consistent. We have to follow through, and we have to be very clear what it takes to achieve and the goal of receiving that. And then we also have to teach everybody that's receiving them that they have achieved this and they need to be expected to be able to perform with these new interventions, new thoughts, et cetera, right? So otherwise they go back and they have the same expectations of when they left. The teacher has the same expectations of when they left, and the kid falls back into the behavior of when they left.
Continue to support them in general. Okay, so Helena has a handbook that we've built and the program. I'd
Good.
love for you to come over and take a look, and I'd love for your feedback.
Yeah, okay.
Jay-
I'd love to. You know I won't be shy. Yes.
I would like to talk to you also. I can't hear what is being said off the mic, but about the program at Azalea that has 3 or 4 students in it. That is that what you're talking about? That
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
Mr.
that's
used,
what,
used to be the Bridges program, and now they're in that.
Yeah,
Well, my girl's in that class, so I have some firsthand experience with how it's working from a parent standpoint. But I don't want to talk about it like in here in the meeting because
Perfect.
it's like I don't know, but it's
Well,
information that I think would be good for all of us to hear.
Well, let's dive into that a little bit later, maybe with Miss Nye and yeah, let's do that. Okay, well, thank you. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Get into action items. You guys ready for that?
Sure.
All right, the approval of the 2025-2026 ESD local service plan.
I move that we approve the 2025-26 ESD local service.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Janice,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Trish,
Aye.
and I as well. Approve the first read of the 2025-2026 budget calendar.
Move that we approve the first read of the 25-26 budget count.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. We'll go to a vote. Janice,
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Trish?
Aye.
And I as well. All right, next up is board functions and comments, budget committee openings. We currently have two openings on our budget committee, Trish. And so,
I asked somebody, but they said no.
keep asking. This is, we stress this every time. This is an incredible way to add value into the school district, to be able to have an input on how the money is spent. It sounds like this is going to be a very critical year in which we need very strong minds to be able to process.
It could be anybody in this county or in our school.
In our
district.
school district.
Anybody.
Anybody.
Except an employee or
And
us.
you have to be 18.
You have to be a voter.
You have to be a registered voter.
Let's hope they're voting.
Okay.
I don't know if you have to.
I don't know if
You don't have to.
And you have to
Probably
be
don't
in
have to.
And live
but-
in the district.
And you have to live in the district.
Yeah, you have to live
Okay.
in it. Mhm.
So yeah.
I think
All right,
you
you
do
got someone
have
in
to be,
mind?
No, I've already asked somebody,
Think
but
it-
you know, I go to this dog socialization group with Elliot and there's all kinds of people. there. So
Okay,
I can ask
perfect.
them.
Great. Janice, sorry, what were you saying?
dang it.
Sorry, that's how my brain works.
Before the dog socialization group, what was the topic?
Oh, budget committee positions.
Well, you have to be a voter or not.
Oh, yes, whether you had to be a voter, live in the district. and be
I'm
18.
thinking that because, well, it's not a voted on position. I was thinking when I ran, I had to, be a voter to run for school board, but that's not the same as
No,
budget.
a little different.
Sorry.
You're good. All right, and with that, we have key dates and calendar updates. Pretty status quo there. No changes.
Jay,
Yes.
If we read the application, number 2 says be a registered voter.
Oh, well, there you go. I thought there was in there.
Even the little, as I read the paragraph on the agenda, it does say number 2, be a registered voter in the state of Oregon. So, yes.
That answers that question.
Okay, there we go.
Okay,
And there we have it. Okay.
thanks, Dee Dee. All right, well, we will adjourn this meeting. We still have another meeting to go after this, so we will adjourn this regular business meeting and head into our workshop. I'm trying to find the,
It's on the last page, right before the, yeah,
got
that
it.
one right there. And we'll be staying on this link until the executive
Thank you,
session.
guys.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, does Jen need fabric? I have so much fabric.
You're more than welcome to.
Probably.
Do they
yeah.
ever need people to help teach sewing? Because I love to sew and I volunteer over here.
Yes,
I'll-
we would love that.
Oh,
She
okay.
has them come in. She's
Okay.
got, we bought a bunch of fabric with some unelected money.
Okay.
And spent like 8 hours at Joann's.
Oh, I love that store.
Yes, and but
Should
then
pay
we
you for
also
that.
take donations too.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Great job with your kids. That was so much fun.
So all the time. But
They
I'm
are
hard
great.
To do right now. I don't like this.
I believe that was Brayson. I haven't seen him
Curtain.
forever.
Yeah, I
He
know.
speaks,
he's
you know,
grown.
he used to be so shy. He was
Yeah.
speaking
Okay,
really
remember,
well.
like that, I used to bounce that baby on my lap. I used to get my hair done with him sitting on my lap.
I believe
Looks like we
started
have-
kindergarten.
Marlene's.
Marlene's here, so, I know, he was Kenzie's little BFF.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, we'll go ahead and call this work session to order. First topic is long-range planning, prioritization of possible future projects exercise. So is this where I hand it over?
Yes, Marlene's right there on the screen. She looks like she's in her car though.
Car somewhere.
She is, she's driving, she's
It looks-
Are you driving?
Yeah, I'm on the road. I'm moving, driving. No, I'm not. I am parked. Don't worry.
Thank goodness you're gonna scare me.
But
Only
I
going
am-
80.
It's yeah, that's right. I slowed down for the meeting. Come on. This is my mobile office. So I can pull up the drawings. My plan was to just go over just very quick preliminary kind of some of the reasons behind the decisions that were made for the planning process and then hand it back to the superintendent to kind of go over some of the prioritization. Does that sound about right?
Yes, that sounds good.
I'm seeing some nod. Okay, so let's do that. Always hides the screen on me. So, we started obviously, recall the process with the assessment. We really were looking at all of our planning decisions for the district with all three campuses kind of together as one. So most all of our planning documents were done on this sort of master format of all three schools together on one piece of paper. We felt like that was pretty important to be able to look at, everything that we did at the elementary school could impact the middle and high school, and we really were looking at them all together. We evaluated circulation, parking, safety. Sorry, is everybody able to see the screen? I forgot to check that part.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. Okay, sorry, thank you. We evaluated holistically as almost like a K-12 campus, circulation, parking, and then of course program, and really looked at future proofing the district. The biggest question I think we had to answer was, what do we do about the declining enrollment, right? I think there was the comment in the board meeting about the 17% decline since about 17, 18. So it means right now your schools are at about 20% below capacity. There's in the next 10 years projected another 30% decrease. So roughly speaking, in the next 10 years, you're going to have twice the capacity you need for the students you're going to have for the built buildings that you currently have on your campus. And so that was the big thing that we really needed to figure out how best to utilize and resolve with the planning process. So we took the plans and we started over here at the elementary school. There was a real desire for focusing on play-based learning and creating 3 houses, K1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all focused around improved shared spaces, spaces that could be improved. These are all existing spaces. As an overall approach, we're not talking about adding any square footage in any of these. It's really just improving and better using what is already there, and just reprogramming and reconfiguring, for lack of a better word. We looked at moving 6th grade over to the elementary school so that we could again balance the enrollment, and the biggest move really was to take the middle school and the high school, combine them into essentially one shared campus. Still keeping most of the middle school classrooms together in this wing. Over here with science, they would have their own commons space, converting the space back here to performing arts and kind of a performing arts building with the art classroom, adding the functionality of a black box theater or performing arts space in the existing space. Again, not really changing that space, but adding that capability to it with the use of equipment and furniture. So it would still be able to be used for a gym during the day. Having a connecting canopy between the two campuses, and then reconfiguring classrooms at the high school level. Some renovation at the media center to improve those spaces too. And then probably the biggest change, because we did also talk about removing all the modular buildings at all of the campuses, is the district office would be relocated in what is currently some of the middle school space, and then expanded preschool in a lot of the rest of the middle school space. So the middle school compresses down into this area and gets more closely connected to the resources that it would share with the high school, the CTE, the gyms, the cafeteria, student plaza, and then other improvements for the high school that we looked at. Again, special education spaces would be improved, outdoor play would be improved, media center, pretty much all of those shared spaces with the exception of the gymnasiums. We do talk about locker room renovations, more for condition, not so much for capacity. So this is some of the concepts we looked at for those shared spaces outside the elementary school classrooms, those 3 existing spaces, and closing those and making them more of a small group learning space, sort of a spillover classroom space, if you will, for kind of quiet shared learning, kind of a open, almost like a free flow small scale library space. It could be very flexible, could be very adaptable. This is a drawing of that space, what it could, if you're kind of looking at it almost from the exterior, looking into the classrooms, where we'd be able to add some glazing so that you could have supervision from the classrooms into that space, and then adding a meeting room space, which is definitely something that has been identified as a need, to be able to have discrete kind of meeting room spaces for small group learning and for administrators as well, teachers, what have you. Flipping over to the high school, there is a small security addition at the student entry along the backside of the school, secure vestibule added. And we just have some images of what that could look like. And that's really just adding a little bit of, maybe, I do think this actually is adding some square footage under the existing canopy, and reconfiguring the space next to it to have a small office to supervise that. The high school science classrooms in particular do need to be upgraded. So we just looked at some options for how we could do that in a configuration that is what we call a combo lab. So you could have desks in the middle and have the fixed lab spaces around the perimeter. So you could, the classrooms could flex. If you don't need them for science classrooms, they could be used for general education classrooms too. So based on enrollment, you could just use them more flexibly over time. The middle school corridor, we had heard, is fairly dark, can be somewhat, I won't want to use the word grim, but there was a desire to add some daylight in there. And we had the capacity to be able to take one of the classrooms out and create a space in the corridor for, again, more flexible learning, kind of smaller scale learning that would be supervised by the adjacent classrooms, something we call just a breakout space for smaller scale learning, small group learning at the middle school level. So that's what that's representing. And then some renovations at the media center to expand this space across the corridor, and then also expand it out into the courtyard was another idea we were thinking of. Also creating some small study rooms inside the media center that would be supervised, but would allow for small groups of students to have some acoustic privacy, have some access to technology to meet together. You can see these kind of in the back of that space there. Those are existing rooms that would require some reconfiguration, but not significant. And really just opening up that media center more to the corridor and to that space across, and even to the corridor around the corner. So that just feels like more of a kind of central heart of the school, maybe even more of a connection to the student store adjacent. And then it spills out into the courtyard, which we would cover also to help with the weather. Options for the black box theater. This would be platform risers and chairs and equipment that could be brought out into the space and moved away as needed to provide for performances and utilizing the existing stage. And another desire, if we're able to take out the district office modular, creating an entry for that performing space for the public in particular. This would be the walkway for them to enter. There was a strong desire for the students to also have a covered area during the day. They use this to play basketball quite a bit back there, but it's not covered. So having the ability for them to be out there when it is raining was strongly desired. I don't know that we really want to necessarily go over the budgets just yet. You have that information, I think, already, but I had that just in case we wanted to discuss it. This is the all-in number, doing absolutely everything we just talked about, including, 2/3 of that, I think, is repair facilities assessment. So keeping the kids warm, safe, and dry for the existing buildings. So that 38 million, that's a significant number, and that gets all of your existing buildings to that as new condition. See what all else is back there. I feel like there's something else hiding back there. Yeah. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay.
Any questions on any of that?
Not on that, Marlene, but obviously a lot of us have seen this a couple of times now, and it's really good to have the planning piece. I do have a question. So if we look at this this shrinking, right, of population, and we look at this plan of essentially consolidating 6 down, 7th and 8th over at Azalea, would we transition our administrative setup to meet that?
I think that's part of the proposed savings. Yeah.
Yeah, so there would be one admin on one side and one admin for the first 6 grades and one admin for the next 6 grades. Is that something?
Well, so if you have a K-6, so like depending on how many kids you have a principal, and then you might have a support person and you might not. Depends on how many kids you have. I mean, when we've been bouncing around ideas, right? And I use Krista as my example, right? Like she has 300 some kids, and she is the superintendent, the K-12 principal, the SPED director, the title director, and whatever else she needs to be, right? So as we shrink, there's a lot of things that we look at and we assume we have always had this, we need this.
Correct. That's what I was.
Yeah.
So
we have to start thinking a little bit outside of what we're used to thinking about.
Right. Okay. I'm glad that we're thinking outside of what we're used to thinking about. Okay.
And I think also a struggle the district has had for a long time is having the middle and high school have a matching schedule so they can share some people. We are going to get to a point where we have to. You're not going to be the 7th grade social studies teacher anymore. You're going to be maybe the 6th through 8th social studies teacher.
We have to.
Or you could be like the Gold Beach 7-12 people, and you teach every science class there is from 7 through 12. It's a whole different mindset, and it's gonna take our people a minute. And then we have some time before hopefully we get to that very small number, right? And so that people can we can reshift, but I think we need to plan for that. And so it doesn't catch up to us and then we don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, I guess part of my question is, how far are we now? Right? Like, We have,
We're getting close.
yeah, we have 2 principals, 2 vice principals.
We're going to have to shrink our admin staff.
I mean,
Mhm.
it's, yeah, it's just a dean of students. Anyways, there's a
Yeah.
lot of different
There-
ways to
there's
shape.
a- yes.
There are a lot of different
Mhm.
ways, but yeah, okay,
Different ways to think for sure.
sure. All right.
So I think Marl, do you want me to take over sort of where we go next?
Yeah, I think
So you can
if
get
you're
back on the
comfortable-
road and drive where you need to go, because we would like to release you of your responsibility for us for today.
Well, I appreciate that if it's okay, just because I definitely would like to hear the conversation. I will turn the video off, but I'll stay on the call if that's okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I can hit the road, but I just want to be a fly on the wall and kind of hear what you all are saying. And then if you have any questions, I should still have cell coverage to be able to answer them, but I'll just kind of be lurking in the background.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Lurk
Awesome.
away.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Yeah, be
Thank you.
safe.
Yeah.
We'll
Of
talk
course.
to you soon.
Thank you.
So if you look on, I don't think the pages are numbered, but where we have the planning budget and the preliminary estimate. So Alan and Jay and I have already done this exercise. Well, at least Alan and I have. I don't know if you were there.
Does
You were,
Denise have
okay.
this? Does
Yeah.
Denise have this? She has it, okay.
Yeah.
She's on her phone right now though, so she might not be able to do it. Okay.
Yeah. So the job is to
Yes, I
prioritize what we need done. So I'm gonna be totally frank here. We're not gonna ask for $67 million, like not happening, right? We know that. But we do have some critical maintenance items we have to address. And so one of the reasons that we did the long-range planning and the facilities assessment was so that we would qualify for the Awesome Grant. The Awesome Grant is $6 million. So if we can pass a bond for 6 million, we get another 6 million. So it's a one
But
for
it's
one.
potential to double in the next fiscal year, that match,
Yeah, awesome.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
There's
So-
some
so
words,
we could-
it could be
So-
a 12-12.
Okay.
Do we have, do you think of the capacity to do 2 bonds in close proximity?
Well, so Dee Dee and
Oh.
I.
Good luck.
Good luck.
If that's what you're saying, do a 6 and then do a 12.
Oh, no, they were talking about doubling the
By the
amount.
Legislature.
By the time we can even
Yeah.
get ready? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So Dee Dee and I had Piper Sandler give us some numbers of what, and we had them work on a $10 million bond. For 10 years,
Okay.
10 years, 37 cents, 33 cents per thousand. So it's not a terribly expensive exercise. And so, I think when we get there, we go for whatever the maximum matching grant
So
amount
I think
is,
to leave-
because it would be
You don't wanna leave
silly.
it- yeah,
2
don't wanna leave
million
it
on the table.
table.
We're not
Yeah.
gonna leave free money on the table, right? Like, we're not.
but
But
if we went for 10, that would get us 16. Current,
yes, currently, right now, yes,
Currently.
yeah. We could also go for 6 to get 6, but
yeah.
if you.
10 is only 33.
33 cents.
Yeah, yeah,
But if it does
Yeah,
go to
that's
12,
it.
would it make sense to, I
Yeah.
imagine,
yeah, I
the
mean. it-
numbers, but what the argument would be to.
yeah,
Which is less than what our prior one was.
Yeah.
That was 57.
Yeah,
It was 20 million over
20,
20.
20.
Mhm,
20 years. Yeah.
mhm. And so my thought in that process.
This is over 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my thought process was, our kids deserve to have schools that look like that. Like, I don't want anyone to think, oh yeah, we just want to fix the maintenance issues, right? Our kids deserve to have a really cool place to go to school. So at least have it planned out. So if you do 10 years, then there's a plan that the district in year 8, right? You then go out so you can
Renew.
redo that same and renew.
Like
and
they
then
do with the gas tax here in the
Yes.
Yeah.
city.
Yeah, and just so that we could have a plan that says, okay, we're gonna take care of critical maintenance first. And then we're gonna start working on
On the
some of
fluff.
on the enhancement pieces.
Enhancements. Fluff.
And so, also, 8 years into that bond, the district would know how the enrollment would
Right.
look
That's
like,
right.
right? Like you could plan
Yeah,
better.
we would know
Right.
what our infrastructure really
Mhm.
looks like.
But we have to fix the plumbing and the electrical, get the, I mean, we have to.
Yeah.
Or else we're gonna have a closed school. at
Right,
some point.
there's
And
a,
then, I mean,
It'll close much quicker.
yes.
Then,
Maybe not
yeah,
the right
Yeah.
places.
but
Right,
yeah,
exactly. And that would be no.
the
I mean,
one
we
call to
wouldn't be
go home
serving our
says, I'm
students
sorry, we
at
don't
that
have school
point."
today because we got sewage everywhere.
Right.
yeah,
We,
I
we
mean,
just can't do that.
I'm gonna ask just a dream question here. If we could have all this tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
would that draw back a meaningful amount of students that aren't coming to class?
I think if we had a inviting space, rightly staffed, absolutely, I think it would have.
I'm just curious if
Mhm.
that would be a incentive for
Mhm.
those that have the choice or have made the choice to leave to come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
so critical maintenance, plumbing, mechanical and electrical is 17, well, it's 18 million. Right? And so that's.
12 and 12 is 24.
That, well, or
Mhm.
12 and 6 is 18, right?
Yeah.
So
mhm.
I think we have to, I think we gotta look there,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's taking care of our
And that's the
infrastructure,
prices today.
you know?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be,
Oh, did she?
They
Yeah,
did.
They add.
Yeah,
Oh,
percentage.
okay.
they did.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh.
Because what we don't want to do is Gold Beach just passed the bond.
Mhm.
Eric is now stuck in the middle of his roofing bids were like kind of pre-COVID. So we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of things they can't do because it's all gonna be in the roof.
Yeah,
Cause it's just so much more expensive to get the same things done.
yeah.
And so that scares me a little, but
Prevailing wage.
yeah. So I mean, I think that, I mean, we need to look for, we have a lot of work to do, but we also need to look for an election where there's no other. The law
Craziness
enforcement
going on.
can't be running a bond at the same time.
Yeah, no, I think if we shoot for November, it's a primary. It's not a general election year, right? The levy is, they put on the levy for May, for the sheriff's department. If we shoot for November, I think it gives us enough time to prepare, and get, the community educated on the bond. If we start
Have to
now,
be, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to start now.
yeah. I mean,
And to understand the, whatever, $18 million kind
Mhm.
of infrastructure problem.
Mhm.
Right.
yeah, and if it's
Their
12 and
own homes,
6.
They have to keep all those systems going or else
Mhm. Well,
they have no
and,
home to live in. So they have to understand we're housing lots of students.
and we're taking care of the buildings that they've already paid for.
Right.
Like, we're trying, you as a board and us as staff are trying to maintain what we have and to keep
Mhm.
it in functioning order.
Right.
I think it's a little bit different of an ask than when you're asking for, like, it would make no sense for us to ask for more square footage. It would not, like, at this stage of the game, that's not appropriate.
We just have to ask for this reason
Mhm.
and do just,
And do these things.
and do these things
Yep.
So
first and
Dee and
foremost.
I are heading to a conference in February. And so, budget stuff, but also some of these kinds of things. And we will get with Carol from Piper Sandler and see what timelines we have and if we can meet them. And make sure that it could all work. I was a little, when we first started talking about a bond, I was a little bit like, I don't want to do that. Because I didn't see the point, right? Now I see the point. We have to do the critical maintenance. And so it's, I think, well worth all of our time and effort to make that happen.
I think all the grant money that the district has been getting, that you worked hard to get, and you've been fixing the building so that we can continue to house the students.
And we may, hopefully we will get the seismic grant for the first section of the high school. It's actually in your consent agenda, just the application. If we can get that, that would be,
That's a good story
Amazing.
to talk about at the bond.
mhm. Yes,
Right.
we've
Addition to-
tried
So
to,
additional,
yeah.
we've tried this, and we've done this.
Mhm.
And you'll have to tell them we did not pay for Sakomi.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, trust me, we've,
It's like,
I've
because
Moral
they're gonna
story,
go,
yeah.
that communication piece.
hang on.
Yeah,
That's such peanuts compared to $18 million, really. I mean.
I know, but they're gonna see that and think you're not spending your money. Why'd you put it there when you could have put it here?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Mike came to our first meeting. I don't think he wants to pay for our plumbing. That's not on his list of priorities. That's our job.
Well, I think we shoot for having something prepared for November.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's much of a choice. I mean,
Right.
you put it to the next May, we're just.
We're in
6
a- now
months
we're in a
longer
general
than-
election and
Well,
Then it's
things
gonna
get a
be
little-
ugly.
things are, I think it gets harder to pass something in a general election
Because everybody's up in arms about what's.
because there's
on the
so
ballot.
many things that get put on those,
Mhm.
right? And, you know, a lot of people just get into a no
Mhm,
mode when
mhm.
they're filling those out. In a primary, at least they have to read it. You know, at least because it's like one of maybe two things on there.
Right, it's not a
You
yes
know?
and a
People
no.
vote during
Yeah.
those periods. so
Correct.
it's easier to.
Mhm. Gold
Get
Beach's
to
bond
pass.
passed with like 860 votes or something like that. It was between
that in
800 and
November?
900, yeah.
Was that in November? I can't remember.
It was.
It was a May, wasn't it? The May
Was
before?
that May?
It wasn't this November,
No, it was
No.
it was
Was
a
it-
year prior.
year prior. So, yeah.
All right. That'll be,
I think we can do it.
be fun.
It'll be fun.
It'll be
Didi
fun.
goes,
Ooh, that's the plan, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right now, yeah.
Okay.
Jay will
I
be
think so.
chair.
I mean, unless you guys want to shoot for May.
No,
No.
I think it's a death.
we have a
blow.
budget
Okay.
to
No.
do, no.
Okay,
No.
all right, all right.
I think the sheriff thing,
We
that'd
have
do
missed
both,
the deadline.
probably.
That would do my
Yeah.
both.
Really, I mean.
Yep.
They could see two on there, no.
Oh, absolutely, I think.
That'll happen.
I've heard some bond, maybe it was Carol one time, talk about when there's two asks.
Mhm.
Oh, the
With
chances
some number of asks, the
something
chances
going-
for both of them just go like way down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Maybe it's somebody's hearing that. Yeah.
So Jay, what do you think will happen with if the law enforcement levy doesn't pass in May? Will it go back on in November?
It's hard to say.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. You know, I can't think that essentially that would be 3 goes in a row. And so I think that there's gonna need to be some, if it doesn't pass now, I think there's gonna have to be some real thought going into
Yeah.
something.
Why
Redraw
don't they
of
do a gas tax for that? So everybody's paying into it.
Problem with the gas tax thing. So there's only one gas station that resides outside of city limits in the county, and it's Chevron in Harbor. Yeah, so there's not a lot,
Really?
yeah, because the cities already have them. So the thing is they have to go towards roads. They have to go towards roads, right?
Okay.
And so the state has what's called a 50-30-20 rule. So road money goes, 50% of the road money goes to the state, 30% goes to the counties, and 20% goes to cities. So cities already have their road budgets. So there's allowable to have a city gas tax, which we have here. But you can't, from what I understand, we can't put a county gas tax on top of a city gas tax because we have our own allotment of road funds. So we could tax gas stations outside of city limits, but again, there's one. So we are looking at it because anything is anything, right? Even if it's, generates $50,000 a year, that's $50,000 a year it didn't have before. So, so we are definitely exploring it, but it's just, it's
Not
not
the answer.
Yeah, it's
The
like
big answer.
Not gonna
TLT.
solve it.
Same thing with TLT, like we can't impose a TLT tax
City.
on city
Property.
hotels and vacation rentals. They have to be
Jay?
out of it. So. Yes, Janice.
There is another gas station that opened that it's a CFN.
Yeah, I
Across from Gold Beach Lumber.
I did see that. It's like a Pacific Pride or something.
Yeah, maybe that.
It's also not open to the public, so the revenue is not gonna be the same.
Correct.
Card,
It's a,
Card Shield Network only.
yeah, a membership one, but nonetheless, it is another one. So, but we will, but yes, those are gonna be explored.
I was just curious, like,
That's
everybody should be paying for it.
good question, and it could
And
bring,
like I live in the city, so I already pay for it.
yes, it gets brought up a lot. And so, understand, 100%. Yes. Good. All right, well, is there anything else? Then
We have, you have evaluation for me next month in the work session, and the emails went out with the survey stuff. So
Yes,
that's all
I
done
sent
and rolling.
the list to, forget her name.
Consultant.
Yes,
Yeah.
and she received it and thanked me for it. So
Perfect.
that piece has been done, so she was going to.
Way to go. Now let's get some budget communication.
They've sent out communications saying that survey respondents will receive the survey around January 20th.
Okay.
Okay. So we will recess to this into executive session, or do we?
Yes, can you read the reason and then we'll switch to the other Zoom?
Yep.
And then we
So we will recess from public session to executive session to review and evaluate the employment-related performance of the chief executive officer of any public body, a public officer, employee, or staff member who does not request an open hearing.
Okay, Nancy, are we using the same link again?
Go to the number 2 link and I'll meet you there in a moment.